Welcome to the KC Stars, where we talk to people in the local film community. And I have with me Nate Thurman, who is a writer, director, and actor. I'll let you introduce yourself better, Nate.
Hi, my name's Maytham Thurman is my name, and I go by Nate short. It's like, people call nicknames for everything. So yeah, I'm from the Kansas City area, and yeah, I'm doing some theater coming up. The Warwick Theater, January, end of January, first week of February. Come see it at the Warwick Theater. Be happy to see you. It's a play about St. Thomas More. So if you're into like not ancient. If you're into old, like King Henry the Eighth is the king at the time. So if that interests you, we really put you into the world of the play. So it's really cool.
Hey, do you live downtown? I can see your stuff in the background there.
Yeah. Right now, I live in Westport, so
Oh,
it's
that's a
right
beautiful
next to
view.
Warwick. If anybody lives in Westport, you'll see
Yeah,
me.
it's a beautiful, beautiful
Yeah.
view. How did you get started in film? And I know you've done a lot of theater, but
Yeah.
film specifically.
Film specifically, I actually got involved with film by doing news programs for my school. I would be like a journalist on site, and so I would do like very interesting stories. I would go around with my friend, and we just do easy setups and go around testing different coffee places. We would rate them out of like 1 out of 4 Java beans or something. It was a really fun thing that I also like had the opportunity to go to a like WWE where they wrestle and everything. I got to interview somebody about that on like the realistics of what it goes into to do that. And it was really cool. I actually saw like how they like physically like hit each other, and they like hit like that mat is not soft at all. It is like almost concrete. They try to make me do a couple of like bumps is what they call it, where you just fall back, and I was like, dude, I'll break my back if I try this anymore. But it was a great experience as like a young kid just going around and getting stories, and then being able now to articulate those stories in a frame. So yeah.
Did you get theater training at some point?
Yes, yes. Also, I didn't include, I went to Summit Technology Academy, which Sean Harrell, shout out, great teacher. It was a half days in senior year. I would go half to this film school, and then half I would go to regular school. But yes, I am trained. First of all, Ray Peck Theater is fantastic. I'm actually doing a play right now with both Pam and Todd Snocky, who are both my middle school and high school drama teachers, which the opportunity to do that is pretty surreal. I then auditioned for different programs of acting academies, and I got accepted to the first acting academy ever to be established in America, which is the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. And so, yeah, I have a
Where,
lot of
where was that at? Where was and say the name again and where was it?
the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, AADA. They have one in LA and New York. And well, the LA one just closed recently because you can imagine what happens with people who own schools.
Yeah.
So,
So which
and
one did
then
you go to?
the Los Angeles one,
Oh,
and I
okay.
did a lot of I spent about 5, 6 years in LA in the business, and some of that was training as well, but also doing stuff outside. So
Did you get a degree then from them?
yes, yes, I did.
But what's your degree in?
It is in acting.
You have a bachelor's in acting?
Yeah, yeah.
That is incredible.
The funny thing about training is that like because some people can think from acting it's like you either like do it or you go to school and you learn how to become even better at doing it or whatnot. If when I go and tell people that I'm a trained actor, it's almost like negated. Like, oh, really? Oh, so what? And so it's like they don't really understand that at like a young age of like 5, I saw Ray Peck's production of The Miracle Worker on stage. And from a young age, I was like, I want to do this. There's no career, I think, in this field for me personally. There's no starting a career because it wasn't never about money for me in the first place. It's always been about that gift that you can give. It's a miracle to give someone that gift of art, essentially.
Yeah. Do you work full time doing something else? You don't have to say what it is, but or do you just act?
No, no, that's what I do. I act and I make films. That's what I do.
Wow. So your whole job is acting.
Acting and directing, yeah.
Very, very cool. Very cool. Um, how old were you when you were in your first play?
I would say like stage play where it's not like elementary school or anything like that. Because, I didn't really know what I wanted to be until I saw that play. And I was like, oh, now everything around my life I can center around that. Um, so yeah, I don't know if I answered that very well,
Yeah.
but
So
first play
was
I was
it?
in, actually, I was about 10 or 11, 10 or 11. And Pam Snocky was my director in that. That was very, very fun.
That's awesome. So you've known you were going to be an actor for a long time. You started acting as a child. You went to college for acting, but you also write and direct. Tell me about your writing process.
So personally, there's a lot of things in the industry to where they make it where they don't, it's not like they don't want you to make art, but law restricting wise, you can make a film and then realize you didn't realize you have copyright infringements, you have, permits A, B, C, D, E, F, G, if
Sure.
you want to make profit. Not really so much in my field. I'm more of the nonprofit things where I make a film associated towards nonprofit communities. But my writing and directing, I either adapt public domain works and make them to a way that I think is relevant to today, or I will personally write original like allegorical stories and metaphors. There's a great saying that nature is what we should aspire to capture when we're doing art, because that's the most like truest form of like life, which is therefore like love in a sense of like, soulfulness. And so yeah, I write stories to where they center around a theme that means multiple different things. Therefore, like if you watch it multiple times, you may see a completely different film another time. So,
Very cool. So, do you sit down and write on a computer? Do you write by hand? Do you know the
yes.
ending? Like, how do you
So
write?
I agree with all forms of writing. If you're writing, the hard part is to keep on writing and
Right.
and to worry about not writing as well. I quote David Foster Wallace when I say this because there's a lot of like egoness that you need to get rid of if you want to anybody to do your work. Personally, this is how I feel. So I don't really come from the experience background really, because my whole passion since I was 5 is trying to be something I'm not and learning how I can achieve that. And that challenges me to learn from that character in the story to then become a better person. Um, so when I write about people who it's always underneath. There's always something subconscious going on or whatnot. Whether you're acute to it or you're not, either way, I think it's great, people writing. But I'll write stories about people who I know I know a lot of friends my age, and I think people can relate, people my age that have just passed away. And whether it's to drugs, suicide, this world that we're living in is a lot to deal with. And so the way that, or it's a completely other thing where it's, I'm doing nonprofit stuff. So if I'm centering around addiction, or if I'm centering around suicide, if I'm centering around literacy for children, and I want to adapt Alice in Wonderland, for example, or something other of the fact, there's always reasonings associated to it with an allegorical net that then emphasizes what it is even more and more. So that's my metaphorical way of saying that answer to you. So
It's okay. Yeah, I like it. You actually sound like an interesting guy. I love it when people's minds work different than mine and other people's. Like, like whenever like some people are just like straight logical, boom, there's what you go, and other people are more like broad thinkers and things. And I think you're more of like a broad
yeah.
thinker in general. So, what are you wanting to accomplish?
What I'm really going to accomplish. So I relate acting to lots of different things, but I think something that really ties into it is when you're starting out acting, you're like a white belt in a dojo, right? And a white belt does not signify your rank or your demeanor or anything like that. A white belt can be just as skilled as a black belt given whatever circumstances or whatever. But I do feel that earning a black belt and the degrees of which you do that is what a director is. From the theater, I don't really know too many directors who just wanted to be directors one day. They've always really been actors. And that's how it's been for such a long time. Acting is such a long profession. The first play was basically around a campfire, and they're just saying, all these things. And it's like, what I want to achieve is like the highest degree of mastery that I can because it's a gift that I'm giving to people. And it's a gift to receive that and to experience that. And so that's what I aim for is the highest level. That maybe it's not perfection in any sense. It's more of a sense of like nirvana, if you will. It's very hard to achieve nirvana. And when you do, you either be with nirvana or you become a teacher. And so to teach acting is the hardest thing in the world. To talk about acting is the hardest thing in the world for me. And so if you're able to do that, then I think that you're really setting up and making a statement in the history of art and making a statement as an artist. Um,
Do you have a preference? It sounds like acting, possibly over writing and directing, or do you have a
I get
preference?
so I'll quote Orson Welles when he says this. I love acting. It's my that's exactly they just go hand in hand. It's two sides of the same rusted old penny. Which side's head, which side's tails, and you fucking sorry, excuse my language. This is friendly. You just polish it out throughout time, and then you realize it's the same side of the same coin. Without any actors, there is no movie. Without any direction, there's no movie. So the sense that I know both sides of that same coin. All I want towards the end of my span on this world is to have a pretty polished coin and to give it to somebody. So,
Very cool. Very cool. Um, if you had a preference, like plays, you get to know everybody really well, you have lots of rehearsals, and the audience
mm,
claps or responds, and you get that immediate gratification. While film, you don't do it over and over in the same level. Maybe you do it over and over multiple times, one scene,
right.
but you don't have the reaction and you don't have necessarily the sense of camaraderie because somebody might just be there one day and then they're gone.
It's so
Um,
strange. Yeah, this whole topic of film acting versus like stage acting, I think it's bananas. I don't know where it started around or what the fuck's going. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm a sailor as well, so. Um, but it's like, what sense does that make to me? It doesn't make any sense at all. Like, so, like, I'll be on stage and with my team and we're doing a play. You have so many people in the crowd with faces judging you, and like I think like you want them to listen to you, like like you shouldn't have to fucking worry about any of that. They're not even there, baby. You're not even in the play. For my sense, I'm not even in, I'm just it's like I said, you're just going with it. If you go to a trampoline park, you're just going everywhere. You don't know which part you're on or whatever. And so then when you do it to film, I mean, we would do rehearsals all the time where we do scene two and then we'll go to scene four and then we'll go back to scene three and then we'll go like that's how
right,
I mean, that's
right.
what we do. Like, and you should be, it doesn't matter. It's where you're coming from the previous scene. That's what acting, where you're coming from, where are you going, what's your objective, basic things like that. So on film, you're afraid of a fucking piece of glass looking at you this way and like a couple of people who are trying to be their quietest. This shouldn't even be a thing. It's not even like you where your stage is. It's just a matter of just adapting to the staging and the blocking, really.
So you don't really see a difference between
There's
them.
not. I don't think that there
Yeah,
is.
no, I wasn't thinking there's like a
And not
difference.
to be like, debatable about this, but
No,
that's
no, no,
just
no,
my
no. I'm not
opinion.
trying to debate. I just want to say, like, I think I'm asking the question poorly. Like, I have people that do both on the show a lot, and people I've
Yeah.
met over the years. And there'll be some people that say, I have a strong preference for stage because you get to know the other actors well, you learn the process, you learn the character
Mm,
well, and then you get to
mm.
perform it multiple times. where whenever you do film, you go out and you might do it out of order, but some people are only there one day and then they go
Let me say it this way. This is the way
home.
I
Okay.
like to, and this can be vice versa, I think, but I really think that stage acting is more like speed painting in
Okay.
real time. And then I think that film acting, if we want to call it that, is more like sculpting.
Okay.
Like maybe ice sculpting, any kind of sculpting, really, but that you
I
are
like it.
chiseling away parts of yourself to then be revealed for the stage. And so it's the most hardest thing in the world when you get a daytime role and you go there for one day. And I mean, there are no small roles, only small actors. I believe that. And that's Stanislavski says that, I think. And it's really like, yeah, like I've been a day player before and I've gotten screen time as a featured actor. Well, don't say lines because like a yin conflict thing and they'll be, but you fill the space. Why do they choose me? Probably because I was physically acting. And so that then becomes like I was on Penny Dreadful, for instance. And so you should probably watch the show that you're going on to like be familiar at least a little bit. And yeah, you just fill the space. It's hard to do. If you have lines, it's hard to do. If you're a waiter, for instance, and you do that, and you're like, "Here's your tea, ma'am." I mean, you should know in the stage as well. When you have cast in a smaller role, the play's not about you. It's not about you. Even the protagonist, the play's not about you. It's about everything else that the play's attached with. And so, if you can take those qualities that you see in the story that you're telling you can't help but try your best to tell a good story. Because obviously, if somebody's a background and they're really trying to fill the space all the way up to the nth degree, you're going to see that and they're going to walk this way, or they won't have any emotion at all and they'll just deadpan and be like, that person doesn't know where they're going. They're just walking like they're a background actor. So know where you're going, know what's going on, and try your best just to be a part of it all.
That's awesome. You have great ways of presenting things. I truly do appreciate the way you talk and the way you think. Can you tell me a little bit about the Penny Dreadful? You said you were in that. What did you do in that?
I was a background.
Oh, okay, that's okay. Where was that at?
That was in Los Angeles. That was in Burbank. Yes. I'll say something about being a background. One, I don't know why Kansas City does this or like Midwest does this. It's kind of been a thing since I've been a kid, which has kind of been the thing of like, don't be an actor because it's like scams and they have scam. They tried to scam Ted Lasso people. Like my aunt just talked to me on Christmas. She was like, I want it to not be a scam so badly. And I'm like, I know I want it to not be a scam also, but I also know it's probably a scam. They want money for you to act like that's
Right.
very perverse usually. But I enjoy doing background work solely because it gives me an opportunity to have a allotted time to not do anything when you're in holding, to just learn my line or read some Shakespeare or read something else or practice my own like monologues that I just know from just what I've chosen from my selection of plays that I know. And yeah, you're gonna meet some interesting people. You're gonna meet some strange people. They'll feed you. It's great. And in California, they're like, doesn't get too cold. Well, I would like you to go up a little bit north and at night and
Right.
wear a lawyer's hat. You usually overshoot for background. You usually get overtime pay when you're on background. And so you kind of want to be there as many days as you can to get that overtime pay.
Mhm.
But with any acting job, you're going to be tired. You're going to be exhausted.
I,
And
I I lived in Dallas. I did background probably in three different things in Dallas,
Mhm.
and they actually everything paid, and it was wonderful. And then I moved to Kansas City, and there's a lot of unpaid work here. And but I have been paid to be background a couple times, and every time I do it, like it's so funny, like the different perspectives. I always feel like I'm really unimportant, and like because like but you're still gonna do your job, but like. you all wait here, and then like you walk out, they have you get out, then they say, oh, you need to get back. Like, okay. And like, it's just, it
Like your
feels weird to
cattle or
me.
something. Like they're just collecting up the herd. It
Yeah,
does feel
like
like
everybody,
the
come
herd.
on, follow
Yeah.
me. We're gonna leave, and it's
Yeah.
just it always felt weird. I went one time. Sorry, I'm not going to take over the interview here, but
It's
um,
so great.
one time when I was a background on something in Dallas, so it'd been like 2019, early 2019.
Mm.
They brought this before they brought the beautiful buffet. They had the background actors. They bought pizza, and they had us eating pizza, and then they brought in this Greek restaurant, catered it for everybody else. And I was like, wow, this is like so, we're so pushed aside. Like I said, I don't
Yeah.
love being background, but I have to admit it is easy. And sometimes they give you food, you get lots of free time to talk to people. Um, so it's got some advantages.
People are like, oh, you network when you're in background stuff. I wouldn't say that so much necessarily because everyone else is also trying to like get an agent or whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I would not, as an actor, I would not say put your thing up with being like, I need an agent, I need an agent, I need an agent. Take care of yourself first because you're going to be taking care of yourself regardless if you have an agent or you don't, or a manager. And they're going to see your work ethic and see that in you and be like, I'll work hard to help this. I've had plenty of agents who don't do anything for me. So why, if they don't do anything for you and they just give you a platform to submit yourself, it's like, but you're taking 20%. It's like, you don't know till you know? So be aware of that. And then be aware of like, if you're still contracted with somebody, if after just trying to get agents, like, bro, you might be giving away half your paycheck if you're doing that. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
but
Um,
I'm gonna talk outside of background stuff for a little bit.
sure,
I'm gonna
sure.
talk a little bit more of I was in a short film called Guilt, uh, that got awarded Best Horror Thriller at the Toronto International Film Festival.
Wow.
Yes, and that was about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. And so I got to play the protagonist in that. I had the opportunity to do that, and I was very thankful. My friend Alex Meriday directed it, and he had me in mind for the role, and we got to working on it, and yeah, it ended up being really great. Met a lot of great people. Production designer worked on like Batman and had a bunch of like really like the Batman in the sense of like the Michael Keaton Batman. And
Mhm.
so this like it was kind of like a gothic kind of story of like this writer who was living in New York. And you can watch the film on Vimeo. You can look at Chocolate Rice Films on Instagram and see that if you're interested.
Sure.
Uh, so yeah, that the acting process with that. So I'll talk about myself in a second, but what I want to say real quick is like, if you're the type of actor who's like, let me see the storyboards, let me see this, let me see that. Where are you filming this? What's your permit? Bro, that's not your job to do that, bro. Like, I mean, you can do whatever you like, but you shouldn't be thinking that as the person you're trying to play. You should be thinking as your character in the sense of I, like, so you should be in your script. You should be soaked with your script, not with the storyboard or anything like that, deteriorating you from, it's almost like procrastinating when you're doing that. I see it. Or you are setting yourself up and you are adamant and you do want to know. But do I, as a stage actor, go to my director and say, let me see your blocking. Let me see this. Let me see that. Let me no. I let them communicate that to me, and it's a collaboration that we work out, which
Sure.
then becomes an organically thing. Film is different, I understand that, but Alex didn't do that. Like he didn't do that with me. Although he had another actor in mind for the role who was asking for that, who was asking for all that stuff. And so he decided on me, and I'm very thankful for him because I love working with him. He's great. And so he basically was like, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come over, we're gonna hang out, and I'm gonna take my camera and I'm gonna give you a rehearsal sense of what we're going to be doing. And so it was like a bed waking up sequence. It was like a, voices in his head sequence kind of thing. And so that gave me the element of like, okay, that's the ball you're throwing to me. Okay. Now I can get the ball rolling on this character a little bit more too. So, and then when we came on the set, when I go on the set, I really try to just stay in it because if you, it's not like, I mean, it's the same thing regardless, theater or stage. You're there to be who you're supposed to be. If the director needs to talk to the character, they don't, why would you want to talk to an actor playing somebody as opposed to like the character who you're portraying a story about? Like, if you're doing in the middle of a play, why would someone go, "Hey, what's up, Nate? Like, what's going on?" Like, stay in it. That's for everybody on the field. Like, why would you be on your phone? Like, you can do that anytime you want to, unless you're checking something related to the project. No sense to doom scroll on set.
Very cool. I'm going to ask you about some pictures. By the way, you don't have a tremendous amount. It was hard, but I like this one right here. What's this first one here?
That was in Guilt. That's some behind the scenes footage that they got of us. Alex was like, "Can you cut your hair for this?" I was like, "I'd be happy to cut my hair for this. It's I'm not attached to this. Don't worry about it."
And where
Every
was this filmed?
this was in this was in like low down LA, so like around like Long Beach area.
Oh, very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. And the brick setting, it was set in New York, so it was that's Kelly right there, and she's we're all alumni of the Academy, Alex and Kelly and I. So it was pretty cool to work with people from the same school on this
Sure.
project. That was the curious incident of the dog in the nighttime. When I transferred, I'm going to UMKC right now, but when I moved back, I I just have to do theater. I just have to. It's just an addiction. I'm addicted to art more than anything and acting. And so I've always known about this play and this book about Christopher. It's a fictional book. And it's about this British kid who his dad lies. He first thing you see on the play is a dead dog on stage with a pitchfork in it, and he's standing right by it. So the book heavily infers implications of um, like autism, I think. It doesn't state it, but it definitely infers that. And so I I was just the writing is just so amazing. This character is brilliant. He's saying numbers, he's doing math, and these are all the things that I personally find challenging as just a person. Like I'm terrible at math. I'm not that quick-witted. And so, but this character was, and it was just a beautiful drama to tell, and that a place in Kansas City was doing that quality work. I was like, I just need to just sink my teeth into that and go along with it. We did a great thing where we adopted a dog for the play. There's like an actual live dog at the end of he gets gifted a dog from his dad, and we worked with KC Pets Project, I think, and one of the crew members ended up adopting the puppy at the end. So it was a really sweet story.
You know, I just love what you just said. That whole story is beautiful. I mean, the fact you
Beautiful
used a
play. It
real
was great to be
dog
part of
and
it.
then the dog actually got a better life because of being.
Kalia Davis in Kansas City directing it. She was great. Love Kalia. She's fantastic to work with, and everyone else associated with Curious. It was fantastic. I worked on as a crew on this. I was a scripty, a script supervisor is what I was.
Okay.
Which, if you're aspiring to be an actor, that's a great way to see the workflow and to work with like the talent on set and being like you don't want to be like boom boom you missed this line as a scripty, but you want to be a nice thing to like reach out with the actors. So that was with Alex directing that as well. This was a piece called Soft Spoken. I worked with Nathan J. Lee. He was a fellow student at the Los Angeles Film School, and that is Kaya Green, who is an alumni of the American Academy with myself. And so Nathan was like, we have the same names, so this might get confusing. But yeah, Nathan was like, "Hey, I'm wanting to make something I can submit to festivals." And so he basically just it was sort of like we collaborated on the script. I wrote it, and then we got to because it's a pantomime. It's a silent film basically. It's a
Wow.
silent film. So I had to take I basically trained myself in pantomime by watching Marcel Marceau. I did a one-man show as like a one-man show at the Academy there. So my knowledge of pantomime and physical acting is really solid. So I took it into this and we made a pantomime piece of these two mimes who are doing a show, and then it goes awry towards the end.
I got to tell you, that was like one of the most interesting pictures that I have seen. That is really unique. I'm sure
Yeah,
that was,
day of, I had to choreograph that,
yeah.
and
Oh,
that was
wow.
a big challenge, but it worked out great. Kaya's very, very smart. So this is like the things you do when you're just like, starting out in the film, like getting your like reels and stuff. So I would reach out to anybody, really, do it for free because I love acting. And if they're gonna get somebody, I would love to have the opportunity to
Sure.
practice my stuff. So this was just something I did for a guy who has not reached out to me since. So no need to talk about it. It's very,
Okay. It's okay. We all have those.
it was a
Okay.
good experience. It was a good experience. This was, oh God,
Hey,
geez.
your hair's back in this one.
Making me talk about this. That was a grad play I did, which was Clue, the board game, basically. And I played Professor Plum. And
Oh, that is great. That is
I had
great.
like a cane with me, and I had like a fake limp to me. So, but like, when you have a cane, like the fake limp situation, it's pretty funny and a little extreme detail, but we added this fun bit with Hayden right there, went to the school. uh he played body, so like the body that falls and everyone finds the body and everything. So as the doctor, Professor Plum, I would walk over with my cane and I would stick it into like the wooden like panels on the stage, but it looked like it was right between his like buttocks. And
Hmm.
so I would like leave the cane and I would like check his pulse and like it would just still be sticking up, and it was just a great comedic
That's
gag.
hilarious.
Joe Garcia, my old not high school, but my old ADA director there. He was my first
Did,
acting teacher, and then he did my grad play too at the
yeah.
academy. So
So was it your idea to do that with a cane or was it something built into the script?
it's something that just like you get the sense of like the impulse to like ask permission to be like, could this be a funny idea and could we get away with doing this safely? And then everyone's like, well, let's try it. So we set it up and then we did it. And it was just too funny the first time to not keep
Yeah, that's great. That's
it.
great. Sometimes that's what happens, little spontaneous things or,
Yeah. I work
especially,
in three elements usually when I'm like doing things. I follow Aristotle a little bit. I mean, he's not the best person. Philosophers aren't the best people, but I follow in terms of theater. I do epics, I do comedies, and I do tragedies. So those are the films that and the entertainment, I guess, that I choose to be a part of.
what advice would you give to yourself when you were younger if you could give advice?
I would say look yourself in the mirror and say, if anyone says anything about what I'm doing as an actor or as an artist or anything like that, why, how are they saying, and do I really care? Do I really care at the end of the day? If I'm going to go into auditions and really, am I going to go up to the door and say, oh, what are they saying about me? It's none of your business what people think about you. So why would you care? Especially if you're not going to see somebody again, really, ever, would you go into, I don't know, any public setting and you're like, oh, I hope that this stranger doesn't see me. No. And it's not like a narcissistic self thing of like, I don't care what anybody says about me. It's just bliss. It's Zen. I'm going to do what I'm going to do regardless because I love that, you know?
I like
So,
it. I just saw Morgan Freeman interviewed.
oh,
And
yeah. Yeah.
did you
He
see like
did
what
not too
they,
long ago.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, when they said, what do you want people to think of when they remember you? And he said, if I'm gone, I don't give a fuck, or something like that. Something. It was just so funny because like he's just so comfortable with himself that when he's gone, he doesn't really care what people say.
Morgan's a great example. Yeah, he's worked with Clint Eastwood, who does one takes, and
Yeah.
Morgan likes that. Morgan prefers that. Morgan gets it. He did something in Kansas City not too long ago. He was doing some like jazz thing,
Oh
And I
yeah,
guess it ran out of like a jazz player, and somebody came up to the like just walked up on stage and just started filling in the role. And I was like, how cool is that that Morgan was here in Kansas City to experience that? It's pretty
that
sick.
is cool. You talked a little bit about where we could see your work, some of it, but is there any other work out there that we can see? You talked about
I
an,
would say if you're really interested in what I have to say and what my work is as an actor, I would say I always really keep update with my Instagram mostly, and I link everything from there. So it is MaythamThurman, and you can find me there and look out for that play coming up and some other film stuff that I have cooking. That's probably gonna release in the summer or Halloween next year. So
what have you learned as an actor? What have you learned, like looking back so far?
it's a great question. I would probably say nothing and everything at the same time. No, that's stupid. I've learned as an actor to be specific, to be the utmost specific as I can be about anything, really. Because vagueness in like what I have to do doesn't work very well. It works when I have to like talk about it or like I'm talking like about like theory or something, but it's like a practical like it's an exercise. It's a workout when you go and act. So can you repeat the question one more time so I can get like
No,
a
just what, oh
Oh,
boy.
I've learned what I've learned. Yeah, is
Yeah,
well, really to just be kind, like kind to really everybody as much as I can be, like if unless you're having a terrible day, which that's hard to be jolly on any day when you're like that. But, people are like, act professional, act professional. Real professional people they don't have to act professional. They just know that it's good ethics to be kind to another person and to like, treat them with respect. And I'm not saying people who say act professional are not professional, but I'm just saying like it's an unstated thing that you carry within yourself. And so, the way I treat cast, crew members. I mean, I'm working with people who are building sets, like physically building sets. You think I'm gonna be an asshole to those people? Why would you? Why would you be? It
right,
doesn't. It
right.
translates to the film as well. If someone's setting up camera, rigging lights, or gaffing, and those are all very important things in film. A gaffer is probably one of the most important things you could do in filming, but a lot of people my age disregard it and they're like, gaffing's BS. Like, it's a job, but I'll get my. It's like, dude, like you are crafting the light that they're going to go into post, which is raw data, and they're going to color grade that and everything. And if you were stops under or anything like that, if you're overexposed, kind of like how I am over here, it's like it's not going to be great. Like you need to like help out and also like, do you care for yourself? Like, what are you doing this for? So I really just, I'll sense the air, especially on film sets. I'll sense the crowd and be like, okay, maybe I'll get a sense that this person's maybe a little bit, whatever. And I'll be like, well, that's none of my business because I'm not here to worry about that. I'm here to be kind and to be useful for what you guys need today. So, but the best I'll do is I love just hanging around crew members sometimes if I have the chance and time, if I'm not in my script of worrying about the next thing and be like, hey, like, what's up? Like, do you want like a coffee or anything? Like, you guys are working hard. Like, you guys are running the set of like where we're going next and everything. So, and yeah, and now with my crew, my cast members on stage in the play I'm working with, it's even more so of like a loving atmosphere of like, you got this, bro. Like, you got this. That line, and it's not said. It's all like internalized. Like, yeah, yeah. It's like, yeah, baseball's really similar to acting and theater. It's like, everyone's coaching you along and supporting you on your team. So that's how it should be, I think.
How do you learn your lines and to put emotions in your lines and to understand the character, everything? How do you prepare?
Just do it. You just do it. You just keep doing it, and doing it, and doing it, doing it, and doing it. I could give away some of my secrets that I do, but I'm not going to do that. But I will say, you just do it. Read it. Read the script. People, not so I don't like to use marginalizations or anything like that, but reading is a problem, and we need to read more. We read with subtitles, yes, we do, and that's great. But I'm not saying open a book or anything, but just read more. Read more. We're reading more already, but I mean intentionally reading. You can listen to an audiobook and read. If you have problems with reading, listen to a story or a poem or something that's getting your mind painting pictures, and then from those pictures you can make out what you want to make out of it. So, yeah, I guess that's my take on that.
Yeah. So you read the script over and over when you first get it.
Yeah, because you want to the script anymore. It's a burden to carry that fucking thing, and especially in stage. I mean, how are you going to be connected to somebody if you're doing this?
Right. It's hard to act with paper
How
in
are
your
you going to be
hands.
connected to somebody on film if every time they say cut, you're doing this? As opposed to you're in it, you're in it. There's no cut that's been happened. The character doesn't cut when they cut. It's like does the character cut when you exit stage? No. So why would you do the same thing on a film set? I don't know. I don't know why you do that. But for me, I hate having that thing in my fucking hands. I want to get rid of it as much as I can because you don't want to get used to doing that more times than you're doing it without the book.
When you've done film, do you do rehearsals with people for the
Usually
film?
not because usually you
Yeah.
got to pay somebody to do rehearsals. So it's like that's the thing. That's the thing. What I dislike about film is that there's so many laws around it that I'm just like, can we just like get rid of that? But there's reasons for that. Copyright is a good thing that protects artists.
So are you a SAG actor then?
No, I don't want to do that just yet. I don't want to do that just yet because you do that and then you become SAG, and then now 20 years passes and you've just been doing background stuff and you get work, I guess, but from the difference of background to like low budget, even of just like a lead or principal, it's like, so you're gonna pay dues quarterly on your background stuff. So even if you get overtime or anything like that, they're just taking that right back away from you.
Right.
And with taxes too, they'll give me some of that too. So for me, it's like, well, so it's kind of a hard position to be in as an actor a little bit. So
Well,
yeah.
I've talked to people who said that whenever people go SAG, sometimes they wait like over a year or more before they find parts because now they can't just do things. They have to do SAG things. And the competition is hard and the opportunities are less. There's a lot more opportunities.
So to go back onto what you were asking about rehearsals, I think it's important. I think it's absolutely important. I think film should have more rehearsals. We don't spend enough time on rehearsals, so that tells me something. If you're doing a stage play and you don't rehearse it very much, do you really think it's going to be that good?
No, sir.
Maybe. Maybe it could be. Depends on the actors that you hire or whatever, because it really is the actors at the end of the day who really are up to it if like if it's gonna be good or not. But I do know that film there's not the time management is a big thing. So it's like, are we gonna shoot weeks doing rehearsals? You could. That's what Sidney Lumet does. You could do it like, I don't know, the way that not Tarantino, but Kubrick was very adamant of like, we're showing up, we're rehearsing it until we get it right. Which honestly, if you're doing a stage play and you're just rehearsing it until you get it right, things should move on really fast
Yeah.
at that point, which is the benefit of film acting is like if you don't need it, you can really direct yourself very easily in films as opposed to on stage. On stage is very different. You don't know how a wide mass of audience is going to react to what you're doing.
Mhm.
So I really do think that, yeah, if we can rehearse it, that's the thing about like if I say I'm a trained actor too, people are like, they bat that away. It's like, I want a real person. I want this. So you don't think that you know how hard it is to pretend to be something you're not? It's really hard. It's really hard to do that and like be believable doing that as opposed to just I mean, I'm with David Mamet, say the words, but also like get past the words too. So the more rehearsals we can have, the better I think films will be. And yeah, because then you're only as strong as your not strongest link. And so that's the benefit of learning when I did background stage stuff and then grew into like this where I am now is like you learn to appreciate the small things that then can lead up to it, which is what rehearsal is all about. You're looking for that. And it shows that the director has like direction, you know, and that they're not vague and they're not telling you to be sad or to be angry or to do this or be happy. How do you play that? Be sad. Um, I don't know. You know, give me verbs, give me phrases, give me pictures to think about. Think of me, read a directing book maybe, and you know,
Tell me what
but
happened to my character, not how to feel. Like, yeah, that's
there are rules to art.
right.
And I hate to say that, but there are. There's rules to ballet. There's rules to painting. There's rules to photography. There's rules. Any art form has rules. Acting, it just looks like there isn't. Lots of people are trying to emulate actors or even filmmakers trying to emulate homages into their things. And I'm just like, well, what you need to understand is that like those people were just brilliant technicians. They knew what they were doing. Marlon Brando trained with Stella Adler. All these people like, and you think Marlon Brando wasn't a trained actor? You're out of your mind.
Mhm.
You think Brand like fucking all these great people you can think of. Meryl Streep, for instance, went to Yale. Paul Newman went to Yale. Lots of people. So it's like, don't try to be like anybody other than yourself because you can't. And also, it's illegal to do that. And Back to the Future 2 or something, the main dad didn't get cast back, and the other guy they got recast, and he tried to do it the same way as this guy. Well, he sued him because you're trying when you are the actors in the sense of performance. So if you try to be like this person, you try to be like that person. One, I don't really respect you very much because you're cheapskating it. You're asking for the storyboard. You're getting away from the script itself of
Mhm.
doing the hard work. To me, this is how I feel. I'm passionate. Excuse me for being verbose, but you, there's too many goddamn homages that are unintentional as it is. And so the more that you can really just dig in, because that's why people get addicted to art from the artist perspective, is that I want to keep challenging myself to see what I can pull off.
Well, not to get us off topic, but
Good.
Ray Liotta talking about
Yeah. Oh,
Goodfellas.
rest in peace. My gosh.
Yeah, he said it was one of the most enjoyable times because they actually had 2 weeks to rehearse, and then they had time to talk. And when they were talking, that story Joe Pesci did, one of his stories, uh, where he's like, "You making fun of me?" and all this. He talked about
Yeah,
someone
it
he
actually happened.
met.
So yeah,
Yeah, that it really happened. You already heard this
really
before.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it
it
really
already happened,
happened.
and so they wrote it into the script because no one went off script, but
They
they
didn't tell
decided.
they didn't tell anybody. They didn't tell anybody that that's what he was getting.
Oh,
And they
really?
did it in
Okay.
like one take. And those reactions are like real because they were like, oh, like the background people didn't know that Joe is gonna like it's funny.
That's
I
really
actually
cool.
I actually ran into an actor who it was a I'll tell you a funny quick bit. I like walked with the he's like, you ever seen Goodfellas before? And I was like, well, because I was doing the what you think I'm a clown, you think I'm
Yeah.
funny. I'm funny how? Funny and mute. I started doing that. And he's like, and he's taking it seriously. Like that I'm not quoting Goodfellas. He's like I'm actually gonna like mess with him or something. And I was like, I gotta break it to you, dude. I'm not gonna have you seen Goodfellas? And he's like, oh yeah, that's my favorite movie. Have you seen it? And I was like, no.
I just did the scene from it. Yeah. Um, that
It was a
not
funny thing.
to veer too far off, but I ask everybody a question. Someone's coming to town. They're from somewhere else.
I love
What
this
barbecue
question.
place?
I love this question. And I'm so glad that you asked this question because acting is like barbecuing. It really is. It really is. I'm gonna say just that. That's all I need to say about that is that looking at barbecuing and then you can relate that to acting. It's a lot of different things. Woodyard barbecue in Kansas City area, I'll say that. But it's beautiful. It's inexpensive, fantastic. My family relative, Slagle, has been working there and he's really connected to it. My great grandma was on like a food TV thing there when she was like 98 or something eating barbecue over
Wow.
there. And so yeah, they use cherry, they use apple, they use oak, and you can taste the wood. Like you can taste these flavors in that.
I've
And the
got to go
barbecue
there.
was just
I've got to go there. About
my mind
what
is
area
still
is it in Kansas City? Like
okay.
what? Yeah.
So if this is Kansas City Square, like this is like a metropolitan, it's
Yeah.
like this way. So it's a little bit west. I think it's on the Kansas side. It's not too far from Kansas City. So
Okay. Okay.
Woodyard Barbecue is fantastic
I got
barbecue.
to go there. I On the show, I met somebody on the show at I've known him for years, but we went to Rosedale based on his discussion.
Yeah.
I wasn't that impressed with it. I went back with
Oh
him,
wow.
and he said, "You're ordering the wrong thing." And the ribs were fantastic.
Oh, yeah, I guess you ordered the wrong thing, I guess.
Yeah, the ribs were great. Yeah. Um, what do you think makes somebody good at something?
I think what makes somebody good at something is knowing that they don't know a lot, that they're aware that they don't know everything. That's what I think makes somebody good, is to not think that you know everything because it's impossible to do. And if you want to take on that task, just ask anyone who's got an IQ over fucking 200 or whatever feeling with all this. I can only imagine. So it's like the able to have ignorance and ignorance. Ignorance in the fact of ignoring things and letting them be, as in what people care about you or whatever, things like that. And then ignorance of like, these are the things that I love, and whatever I don't know about that, that is just something I'm going to have to find out about. And so I think it's important to have those reflective qualities and awareness within oneself. I say that as an actor because when I wake up, I'm automatically doing a practice of my own continuity for the day. Stanislavski tells you to do this. If you wake up and you take a drink of water, did you do it with your right hand? Did you do it with your index finger that you're opening it? Did you drink it with your left hand? What angle did I just do that at? And then, so then when I go to sleep at night, I can then reflect on, I woke up. I woke up. I went to, I with my right hand and I opened it with this bottle and I did that. I won't physically do it, but in my brain, I'll remember that and I'll recall that. That way, when I have to do a film scene, whether there's not a continuity person or whatever, I am always on my point as if I were doing it on stage. So that way, in the editing room, you have so many options to choose from because I will always hit it from this way like that. I will always drink it at this angle because I already remember what I had for breakfast this morning.
Hey, I actually love what you said because I remember talking to someone. I had an acting coach and was talking about the motions need to be the same. Always reach with the same hand. Always do that because sometimes people do a good job, but they edit out part of their scene because when they did a great job, they did it differently than every other time.
That's a good point I want to talk about when you're
Yeah.
using props. I love and I hate props because people, if you can get away with using a prop as a character. Well, actors aren't props, okay? So whether you're doing it with your butt, you're not just doing it to pick up the cup or anything like that. You have an intention. I'm
Hmm.
thirsty. Where's my water at? Oh, I see it. Okay. Have I drinking a lot of water today? I don't know. Am I gonna go on a run later? I don't know. Where am I going next? So there's so many things happening. It's the same thing we talked about as am I just walking or am I walking too much or do I have a purpose if I gotta get to a doctor's appointment at 8? So that's what I wanted to squeeze in there on the terms of that and continuity associated with that. So, because you can get into the point of where you're overly continuous in your brain, and then we see that. And we see that you're remembering that you picked up your thing and you did it on this. It's really hard to do. It's really
Right.
hard to
Right.
do, especially when you're on set with direction that is not the best, where it is result direction or anything like that. Because now you're trying to translate what this guy's saying and what or girl's saying or whoever person's saying into your brain, translating that into what they really want, and then you're like, okay, now my action I put it so like that can clutter somebody really much.
Hmm.
If
Hmm.
by simply just not speaking the verb, it's a different language you got to speak. Actors, you got to speak a different language to us, and it's if you speak a different language to anybody, they can be an actor. It just takes verbs and reasoning and justification. Don't just say you want to do something just because I said it, I'm the director. No one should treat adults that way.
Right.
You know?
So
It's like
what do you think makes a good director?
nothing. I don't think anything makes a good director. You can make a perfectly good film about nothing. Just look at Federico Fellini, you know? Like I don't think anything makes a good anything, really. Like every when I think of good or anything like that, if I
Okay.
only hear a good job, I think of the Whiplash thing of like, oh, good job, you know.
Let me word it differently then.
That's
What type of director do you prefer to work with?
I
What traits do
prefer
they
to
have?
work with a verb heavy director who can have clear implications of what of it's really just if we can come to a common ground, and if that common ground I can have some, it's like going into like a debate or like a lawyer battle a little bit. It's like I see it on my side and these are my reasonings for that because the text is my source, and then
Mhm.
the director goes, well, da da da, and if their text isn't their source, then it's like, but it's substituted by by like what they're going for in the film, which is really the editing room is what they're trying to like what they should be going with. It's like when I'm directing stuff, I'm knowing that editing, I've written it, either it's gonna be this way, but so what a good director should do in the sense of good is they should be open and objective.
I like it. I don't remember if I asked you this question. I thought about it, so if I've asked it, say, don't ask that again. But what I asked about a little bit about motivation, but what motivated you to choose acting? And I know art,
Oh, I'll tell you, that's
part of it.
easy.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
what about if you could have chosen art painting, you could have chosen art something else. Why was acting chosen?
I don't know. I think it was just it wasn't my decision. I don't know. I think it just gravitated towards me.
Was it something when you said
Well, I was either gonna be like I was either gonna become a director or I was gonna become an actor, or not director, but like work in the film as a crew. But I auditioned and I got in, so that basically told me I was good enough to be an actor if I really wanted to be an actor. So good enough in the sense of like good enough to have the ability to then put it on yourself. The academy didn't you know you can teach somebody something, but you can't learn something. And I took the tools that they did and I learned them
Mhm.
because I don't need to be dependable upon anybody or any institution to do what I'm doing, which is thankful because you can get into a rut where you're not acting for a while and then you're like, oh shit, have I gone back in my old hacks or whatever? But if you're doing it every day and you love it, why would you stop? So,
What makes you stand out?
I'd say as just a person
Um, I'm
or
thinking like acting, but it can be
just
anything, really.
nothing special about me. Nothing special about me. No.
Well, you stand out to me.
Nothing special about me. There's
You
nothing.
stand out to me because you seem like you think deep and you also learn. You don't just surface things. I think you're like a deep thinker and you investigate what you're interested in and you become an expert at things that you're interested in compared to other people. Maybe some other experts have similar knowledge, but I think you're probably one of them.
Yeah, when I was a kid, before this whole like acting bug hit me or whatnot, it's not an acting bug, but I was like, I really want to be smart. Like, I want to be smart. I would watch like National Geographic like stuff, and I would just learn about the world and just be fascinated. I'd watch Crocodile Hunter, and I was like, I want to educate myself in the furthest extent, like these people who know so much about like, are you smarter than a zoologist? Kind of like. But I realize now, like that passion can be filled within each scene that I do in a play. And I am playing an animal. We're all animals, so it's I get to fulfill that in that sense, I think, which is interesting.
What is your play that you're in and where is it again?
It is called A Man for All Seasons. You can find it at the Met website in Kansas City, the Metropolitan Ensemble Theater. It's going to be at the Warwick Theater in Westport, Main Street. January 25th through the February 1st is about what we're doing. It's really coming along right now, and I'm so excited and so happy to have the opportunity to work with these amazing people.
I would love to see it,
Karen
honestly.
Paisley's directing it. She's fantastic. And I can't wait to go back to rehearsal. We were on Christmas break right now. We were just it's looking really good. And I hope that people get to the opportunity to see good theater because that is like an experience that you don't get very often.
What's your role in the play?
I don't even want to say because I just want people to show up and watch it. I do this, hey, I do this to my parents too. They ask me what my role is and like what it's about. I say, just watch the play. Just watch the play. Just watch the play.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well, thank you very
Excellent.
much for this, and it's a beautiful day.
It
Great day
is a
out.
beautiful day. We should get out of here.
Yeah.
One last question, like, is there anything that you wanted to talk about that we haven't gotten a chance to talk about?
Really, I would just say if you've listened to this and you've taken an interest or a disinterest in what I'm saying, I really just love anybody that's in the arts and invested in the arts. Okay. There's a lot of things happening in the world today, and it's nice to go and forget about that a little bit and reflect on our own selves when we go to watch entertainment or art or anything. I think I'm gonna go to the Nelson today and go do that myself. So
Oh, very good. Hey, I love talking to you. You're a very interesting man. Thank
absolutely.
you.
Yeah. Well, you have a great rest of your day and a happy new year, okay?
Thanks, you too, sir. Thanks.